What's going on, collectors? I have the top 10 best, not my favorite, the best Uncanny X-Men covers ever in this video right now. And of course, if you guys like what you see, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. So in this video, I have the top 10 best Uncanny X-Men covers ever. It's indisputable. These are very objective takes. There is no room for interpretation. These are the best. End of story. You can't even argue with me here. I understand it's going to be a hard pill to swallow, but this is just the list. This is also going to be part 1 of 2. So I actually have a second video out. I've asked my wife to pick out her top 10 favorite Uncanny X-Men covers. She knows nothing about X-Men. I'm going to have a video where I'm going to showcase those 10 books after this one, so stay tuned for that. So without any further ado, let's just get right to it. Here is X-Men number 43 from February of 1968. It is the John Buscema cover. And this is top 10 on the list because it is the book that showcases the awesomeness of Magneto. Not just because of the title and how big Magneto is, but it's that bombastic, larger-than-life appearance of how Magneto influences the X-Men. Now, admittedly, this has the worst costume of Angel on the cover, but this is the best, really, Silver Age Magneto cover, but this is the top 10 best. And so why this is the best, again, is because it's showing all the X-Men doing the best that they can against a foe that just doesn't stay down. An interesting history about these types of books, in later issues around the 30s and 40s, we start seeing the X-Men logo shrink and these bigger letters appear. So you'll also remember some other books in this era where it says Cyclops and Marvel Girl, and it says on the X-Men on the top, or Beast and Angel, or Beast and Iceman. And the reason behind that is because they were trying to make the X-Men books sell a little bit better. And so they wanted to do so by shrinking the actual title of X-Men and really showcasing the villains or the characters that are in the story. So Magneto got his whole cover from this. Quite the interesting cover, and that's why it is top 10 out of the top 544 covers of Uncanny X-Men. Can you believe there's that many issues? That's crazy. So number 9, we're going to May of 1965. It is Jack Kirby's cover of X-Men number 12. Arguably the first appearance of Juggernaut, because technically he's appears in 13, but let's just get into this. This cover is really cool, and the reason being is because it actually shadows the story. We don't actually see the Juggernaut at all until the very final panel in this book, and that's kind of how the cover is showcasing it as well. The whole thing's a tease. We don't know who the Juggernaut is. He's just exploding out of the bottom there. And really, if we take a closer look at this, we have the Juggernaut in all of his power and glory, just absolutely knocking all the X-Men back. It's a gorgeous red cover, which, you know, of the 60s, these bright red covers were a real big feature. But this one, despite it having the reddish-brown tones of the Juggernaut, it still pops. There's not a lot of a color scheme, but it jumps out at you. And so the reason why I consider this to be in the top 10, and actually at number 9, is because there's a lot happening with actually not a lot happening in the cover, if that makes sense. We only have a few color schemes in here, mostly primary colors. And in the cover here, we have tons of action and explosion. That's really a testament to the amazing Jack Kirby and all the amazing work he did, obviously, back in the entire Silver Age. Number 8 takes us to 1986, and we have Barry Windsor Smith's cover of X-Men number 205. And this is one of a few different Wolverine covers I'm going to be showcasing. And if you know this story, like, you know that this story is top tier already, but this cover is just incredible and oozes the mood of Wolverine and what both I think Chris Claremont for sure was getting at the time, but I think this is Barry Windsor Smith personifying the story of Chris Claremont at the time too. We have Wolverine just being kind of involved with very technological things. So we know that the Reavers are in here, Spiral's involved in this story, and we kind of get an idea of Lady Deathstrike and how she is formed with it. And while this exact panel does not happen in the story, it is an allusion to what is happening to Wolverine within the story and his enemies. And this is just one of the most arguably disturbing covers that exists for the run, but it is also one of the more interesting ones, and a very muted color palette too. So it stands out for a variety of different reasons. Obviously, there's a lot of moving pieces on there, but for a very muted color palette, it still draws the eye and really kind of shocks the viewer. This next cover is objectively deserving to be where it is. It's also one of my favorites, just happens to be. Believe me, this is an objective list. This is number 98, and this is a Dave Cockrum cover from January of 1976. This is the X-Men as a whole. They are battling the Sentinels. They are on top of a rooftop. You have all the new X-Men that just recently joined the team back in giant size, but issue 94. We have Colossus, Nightcrawler, Storm, and Wolverine all battling these Sentinels. Cyclops is taking a blast on with his on this side here. It's just a really cool color scheme. You got a little bit of the Kirby crackle, so there's some reminiscent of the earlier Silver Age on the books here, but we have so much going on in this cover that really is what the X-Men are. And so this cover is easily in the top 10 because it is an early showcase of everything that is X-Men without but it also has so much history of the X-Men for any newer readers as well. Pretend this cover didn't exist. You could republish this now and pretend it's like the first time this cover was ever drawn, and it still makes sense. The character still makes sense. The color scheme still makes sense. It still resonates with all the X-Men readers today. So here we are at number 6, and this book, probably a lot of you were expecting. It's Jim Lee's issue of number 268. We get a little bit of Wolverine history here. We get a lot of Captain America and a lot of Black Widow. This was from the 1990s. It was July of 1990. And this is definitely one of the more iconic covers of the run. It's not the iconic cover, but it stands up there. And again, objectively, this stands up there. This cover is really that Fibonacci spiral. The idea that there is your eye is drawn kind of to the center, because what it does is when you look at the cover, you're kind of gazing all around it, and it goes kind of towards the center where Wolverine stands. It's actually quite the great showcase of it. We have Black Widow, who's, you know, black on the side there, but because of her hair and Wolverine's leg, you're kind of drawn to go around, and obviously all the redness of Wolverine draws you. Cap's shield is around it. It's purposefully curved, there's my hand, to go up and around to Cap's head, and you're just pulled directly into Wolverine by the end of it. And it does showcase, you know, all the strength of these characters who aren't even in X-Men through this cover. And so this cover stands out not just as a great X-Men cover, but really a great Marvel cover. Regardless of the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, issue 251 has always been one of the best covers of the run. This is by Mark Silvestri. This is from July of 1989. We know that there's a lot of awesome colors going on in this. Purples, the yellows. We know this is a nightmare scenario here. And we have this really cool island of skulls, the Wolverine's crucifixion. It's not just an iconic cover, but it is also resonant to the whole mutant analogy of, you know, they're always being crucified for something that they didn't do. They were just born that way. And so this obviously starts the top 5 because, like, why wouldn't it? It is top 5 material. So here we are reaching the top 4, and it's actually an homage cover. So top 4, John Byrne, issue number 135. And this is from 1980. This is within the Dark Phoenix saga. We see the X-Men kind of defeated all around the Dark Phoenix, and we also see her crushing the X-Men logo there at the top. We really get the true idea of the Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix, and her powers in defeating the X-Men, and obviously the threat that she has on the universe, and why, you know, in the subsequent issues we see the Shi'ar getting involved and yada yada. This is really power incarnate, and seeing Phoenix become all-powerful. But it is an homage, and that is an homage from issue number 56, which is a Neil Adams cover. And this one here is from 1969. And we got the living monolith there. And he's squeezing the X-Men logo, and the X-Men are there at the bottom. But we know that one is significantly more powerful than the other. And so we do have topping off top 4 with this cover, which is just one of the most iconic covers in the run. But speaking of iconic covers, we have one by Dave Cockrum. I mean, what top 10 X-Men list doesn't have issue 101 on it. And so obviously this is iconic for a variety of different reasons. It is the first appearance of Phoenix. We get the first awesome costume we have there. We have really the kickstarting of the entire space saga that exists with X-Men, and them being directly in contact with the Shi'ar, the aliens. Like, this is the whole kickstarter of a huge series of events that define the X-Men. But this cover is just gorgeous. We have, objectively, it's gorgeous. We have, obviously, Jean Grey leaping out of the water, the X-Men struggling to get out of the water, the shock and awe on their faces. We have an amazing color contrast of just blues and greens, really. Obviously, there's the yellow from Cyclops' visor and Jean's belt, but that's all greenish water. We have the bluish background, the storm that, not that storm, but the storm going on in the background here. It's a lot of action and the appearance of somebody incredible in the Marvel Universe. And so we have here top 3 best X-Men covers, easily, hands down, issue 101 by Dave Cockrum. We're in the final 2, though. February of 1980. We're talking John Byrne. Any idea what it is? That's right. It's issue number 133. This is Wolverine's first solo story, and what's really awesome about this cover is that it is Wolverine doing the best at what he does, which isn't pretty, of course. Not only was this an incredible story for the time, Wolverine's first solo story, but it really showcases the ferocity of Wolverine. And, you know, up until this point, we really didn't get a good idea of what Wolverine was. You know, they killed off Thunderbird in issue number 95, and that's because both Thunderbird and Wolverine had very similar personalities. And throughout the series, we knew Wolverine was a bit of a hothead, but we never really got a chance to see him shine. And that's really where this issue comes in and really takes Wolverine by the reins and makes him stand out to be an iconic character. So we have a very simple color palette. We have, obviously, Wolverine is yellow, but it's blues and reds and greens after that. And that is the action and the iconicness of this cover. It is so simple in terms of the color scheme, but it is so intense in terms of the action within it. We have Wolverine obviously swiping at the Hellfire guards all around. They're scared. We have even they're wearing masks, but we can see the worry in their faces, which is also just incredible that John Byrne was able to do such a thing. What top 10 list exists without this book? There aren't any, because this is such a big deal for the X-Men. But speaking of big deals for the X-Men, only a few months later, John Byrne would top himself with another incredible cover. I mean, objectively, this is probably the best cover. If I am wrong with any of this, feel free to leave comments below and tell me why I'm wrong, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong and why I'm still right. I'm a kidder. I don't really care. So it's issue number 141. This is from October of 1980. I had this signed by Chris Claremont, so the scribbles usually aren't there. But this is, name a more homaged cover in all of the comic book medium. DC, Image, everybody has done some sort of version of this cover, and it stands as a testament to not just John Byrne's artwork, but the iconicness of X-Men, the importance of the X-Men, the importance of storylines like this, because obviously this was a groundbreaking story when it was released, but also just the awesomeness of having an idea where everybody's dead. We have in the background there all the X-Men either apprehended or slain. We have an old man Wolverine and an older Shadowcat there being caught in the spotlight. This is a scary cover, but it also represents everything that the X-Men do and what they are about. They are feared, they are time travelers, they are alternate universe people, and this cover represents everything that is X-Men. Sure, it doesn't have the Sentinels directly on there, but we know that that's what that spotlight is from. Really, this is the top X-Men cover of all time. If you disagree with me, let me know below. But like I said, I do have another video coming out shortly that is going to be the top 10 best covers according to my wife. Again, she doesn't watch X-Men, she doesn't read X-Men, she doesn't know anything about X-Men. I had her look at all the 544 covers of the series, and I said, choose your top 10, and she did. So that's in the next video. Again, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below about how wrong I am or how wrong you are and that I have changed your mind. Wink, wink. And I'll see you guys on the next video. These are very objective takes. There is no end of story. You can't even argue with me here.